Alright, my darlings, go and grab your cup of zobo as usual. Sit down properly and hold your chest because what I'm about to tell you, it will shake your spirit. This one is not ordinary gist, oh, it's the kind that will make you look at your own family twice. Because how can a mother love one daughter and treat the other like she fell from the sky? My name na Aunty Gistina, the hottest this giving aunty in town, the one whose tongue dey sharper than pepper soup and sweeter than bread fresh from the oven. And no just carry gist, I dey unravel destinies. Today's story is called Fractured Bonds, a tale of love, betrayal, and the silent scars we carry from the people who are supposed to protect us most. My darling, let me take you back to a day that looked ordinary on the outside, but underneath it, it carried the seed of 1,000 silent heartbreaks. She was just 8 years old, young, bright eyed, and full of wonder. You know that age when your heart is still soft, your hopes still tender. That's when it happened. Her name, let's call her Tara. And Tara had something she treasured more than anything in the whole wide world: a delicate porcelain doll. This wasn't your roadside Barbie o, no be the one they sell near traffic light for 500. This one was imported, brought back by her father Akin, who had just returned from a business trip abroad. He gave it to her with love in his eyes and the words, "This is for my brilliant daughter." Now hear this. Tara didn't just like the doll, she adored it. She brushed his hair, dressed it in fine ribbons, and slept with it clutched tightly every night like it was a symbol of everything good in her life. But one fateful afternoon, as the sun was painting golden patterns on the living room walls, disaster struck. Little Lola, just 6 at the time, was jumping around with careless joy, holding a toy car and pretending it was an airplane. Before anyone could say be careful, the car flew from her hand and smashed the porcelain doll into pieces. Tiny fragments scattered across the tiled floor like falling stars. Tara froze, her heart dropped. It was as if someone had taken a blade to her chest. And their mother, my sister, brace yourself. Their mother walked in, surveyed the scene, and instead of acknowledging the tragedy, she laughed. Yes, she laughed too. Then she turned to Lola, patted her head, and said, "Don't worry, darling. You can have another toy." No apology, no correction, no acknowledgement of Tara's pain. That day, Tara felt something tear inside her. It was more than the door that broke. It was a crack in trust, in balance, in a mother's love. But because she was young, she brushed it off. She told herself, maybe I'm just being too sensitive. But that was only the beginning. Now listen, it didn't stop there. Oh. That moment was just the prelude. As days turned into weeks and weeks into years, Tara began to notice something strange. Something so subtle, yet so loud that only her heart could hear it. The love in that house, the praise, the affection. It wasn't shared equally. You see, Lola could do the barest minimum, draw two crooked lines on paper, and their mother would shout, Picasso, my genius baby. She would rush to the fridge, tape the drawing proudly, and show every visitor like it was a masterpiece from an art gallery. Tara, she could win spelling bees, top her class, get recognition from her teachers, and their mother would just nod like she was hearing about the weather forecast. It began to cut deeper. Each ignored success felt like a slap wrapped in silence. Each time her mother clapped for Lola and ignored her, she felt like she was standing in a room full of people shouting for someone else, while she stood in a corner unseen. And yet, Tara kept trying. She thought maybe if she was better, smarter, kinder, her mother would finally see her. So she worked hard, oh, Overachiever mode activated. She joined clubs, entered competitions, brought home shiny report cards, but nothing changed. The applause still rained down on Lola, while Tara's efforts landed with the weight of feathers, silent and unnoticed. It wasn't just favoritism, it was emotional starvation, and the worst part, nobody else seemed to notice. Now, if not for her father, my dear, that girl might have withered completely. Akin, her daddy, was the balm to her bruised soul. That man didn't talk plenty, but when he did, it carried warmth like egusi soup on a cold day. He saw her, not just with his eyes, but with his heart. When she brought home good grades, he would beam with pride and say, "You are making me proud, my star." When her mother forgot her birthday cake, he was the one who brought it in the evening, candles and all. She lived for those moments with him. They would talk late into the night about books, dreams, about places they wanted to travel together. He made her feel real again, like her existence mattered. But even that love had its limitations, because while her father's love gave her breath, her mother's indifference choked her spirit. And in a house where the mother is queen, the father's love can only go so far before it starts to feel like borrowed sunshine, sweet, but not enough to make a plant bloom fully. Tara often wondered, why doesn't mommy see me the way daddy does? And let me tell you, when a child starts asking that kind of question, healing becomes hard, because she wasn't just fighting for attention anymore, she was fighting for identity. You see this hair matter, eh? You may laugh, but that thing carries deep pain, because hair time in African homes is sacred, is bonding, is storytelling, is care. But in that house, Tara's hair became a battlefield of rejection. Every Sunday, Lola would sit between mommy's leg and she would twist and plait her hair like royalty. Beads, ribbons, shiny oil, and laughter filled the hair. Mommy would hum songs, sometimes even give Lola groundnut as she braided. But Tara, ha, she had to do her own hair. With her little shaky hands, she would stand in front of a mirror, struggling with rubber bands and tangled knots, often ending up with hair that looked like it had been in a wrestling match. One day she even begged, "Mommy, please help me, just this once." And mommy looked at her and said, "You are old enough to do it yourself. Stop acting like a baby." Chai. That thing pierced her deeper than a knife. It wasn't just about the hair, it was about being left out of the sacred space, the nurturing rituals. And when people at school laughed at her rough hairstyle, she didn't cry because of them. She cried because her own mother had left her to fend for herself. Finally, one day, after too many silent cries and hidden journals, Tara decided to speak. She went to the one place she still felt safe, her father. She sat him down in the kitchen one evening, her voice trembling like yam on a broken plate. "Daddy," she said, "do you think mommy loves me?" The question sliced through the room like lightning. Akin froze, his spoon mid-air. He looked at his daughter, really looked, and something in his eyes broke. He pulled her close, held her tightly, and whispered, "Of course she does. We both love you very much." But Tara wasn't satisfied. She shook her head, tears pouring. "Then why does she treat me like I don't exist?" Akin didn't have an answer. His silence was louder than thunder. He tried to comfort her, to explain her mother's ways, saying some people show love differently. But Tara wasn't asking for different love. She was asking for the same love, the fair love, the just love. She left that conversation feeling half head, half healed, like someone who would put a bandage over a wound that needed surgery. Her father meant well, but sometimes good intentions can't erase deep pain. And from that day, something shifted inside her. She began to build a wall, not just around her heart, but between herself and the woman who brought her into the world. Teenage years. That stage when everything starts changing, your body, your mind, your dreams, and you just want someone to hold your hand and say, "It's okay, I see you." But instead, Tara was walking through life like she was tiptoeing on shattered glass. You see, by the time she was 15, things had gotten delicate. She couldn't breathe too loud without her mother raising her voice. Every word she spoke felt like a trap waiting to be sprung. If she wore jeans, her mother said, "Is this what good girls wear?" If she had a male friend call her, "Are you not ashamed?" Meanwhile, Lola could paint her nails, sleep over at friends' houses, even sneak in late, and their mother would say, "She's just expressing herself." Ha! Can you imagine? Tara started shrinking, not physically, oh, emotionally. She became a master of avoidance. She avoided conversation, avoided conflict, avoided joy. She would lock herself in her room and blast music, burying herself in novels and poetry, escaping into fictional worlds where mothers said, "I love you," without condition. She even started second guessing her own choices. Was she the problem? Was she being dramatic? Maybe she was too sensitive. Maybe she was the difficult child. But deep down, she knew. She knew the truth. Love in her house came with conditions, and hers had expired before she even reached double digits. You see this chapter, eh? Just hold your chest small, because betrayal no dey wear slippers when it enters. It barges in like hurricane and scatters everything. One hot Thursday afternoon, Tara was going through her mother's desk, not to snoop oh. She was actually looking for a receipt for school project expenses. But what she found? Kai! She stumbled on a ledger, one of those little books our mothers used to track spending. She flipped through idly until her eyes landed on an entry that nearly made her faint. Lola's Dubai trip, 420,000. Lola's dance class, 180,000. Lola's birthday makeup, 35,000. Tara's school fees, unpaid. Unpaid. As in, school had been calling her about delays in tuition, and here was her mother funding travel, glam, and dance steps. Dance steps, my sister. She checked the dates again just to be sure. Yes, her school fees had been ignored the same month money was pouring like rain on Lola's social life. Tara dropped the ledger like it burned her. Her chest tightened. The betrayal was no longer subtle. It was written, itemized, signed in ink. And the worst part, nobody had thought she'd ever find out. That night, she didn't sleep. She lay on her bed with her eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, asking herself questions a child should never have to ask. Am I not worth investing in? Am I a burden to my own mother? My sister, you know say even small pot dey boil if you hit am enough. That's exactly what happened. The next morning, Tara walked into the living room with the ledger in hand, face calm but fire burning in her chest. Her mother was sipping tea and scrolling her phone, relaxed like the Queen of England. "Mommy, can I talk to you?" Tara's voice was calm, too calm. Her mother didn't look up. "Is it important? I'm reading something." Tara placed the ledger gently on the table, flipped to the right page and said, "I found this, and I want to know, why are you paying for Lola's vacation but not my school fees?" Let me tell you, if shock was a person, it was her mother that day. Her mouth opened but no sound came out at first. Then the excuses began. "Oh, it's not like that. You don't understand. Lola needed those things. She's going through a lot too. You already have your books and brains." Tara interrupted, her voice rising like storm tide. "So my education doesn't matter. You think because I'm strong, I don't need support. Is it a crime to be the responsible one?" Their voices clashed like thunder. Her father rushed in, trying to mediate, but the damage was done. Tara didn't just feel neglected, she felt discarded, tossed aside for a sibling whose only superpower was existing. The truth was out and it was ugly. There was no going back. After that day, Tara disappeared. Not physically, oh, but emotionally. Her body was there in the house, but her spirit gone. She stopped going to school, stopped eating properly. Her room became her only refuge. Her father tried. That man tried, bless him. He would knock gently, bring her tea, tell her stories, beg her to talk, but she had shut down. Because when betrayal comes from your own mother, words from even angels begin to sound empty. Her mother, now ashamed but too proud to admit fault, began to throw peace offerings, new clothes, soft greetings, suggestions for mother daughter outings. Tara rejected them all. "It's too late," she said one night. "You didn't choose me when it mattered." Even Lola noticed something had shifted. She'd bounce around the house like nothing was wrong, but every time she glanced at her sister, there was confusion in her eyes. She didn't understand the weight of being the favorite. She didn't know that every hug she got was a slap to her sister's soul. Tara felt alone, not lonely, alone. And let me tell you, that kind of silence is not peaceful, it's suffocating. At this point, the house became a ghost town, not in the way of cobwebs and creaking doors, but in the way laughter had died. Even Lola started asking, "Why is Tara always sad?" But no one had answers, not honest ones anyway. Tara began to question everything. Was this even a family, or was it a performance? A collection of people under one roof playing roles society gave them. She remembered birthdays where her mother forgot her cake, but remembered Lola's down to the sprinkles. She remembered school open days where she stood alone while her mother was sitting front row at Lola's ballet recitals. So many moments stacked like bricks, now forming a wall she couldn't climb. Her father remained a steady flame, still trying, still hoping, but the truth, a daughter can only carry so much pain before she lays it down and walks away. Tara started thinking about the future, not with hope, but with escape. "Maybe when I leave this house, I'll finally breathe," she whispered to herself one night. But even as she plotted freedom, she carried with her a truth that would follow her like a shadow. The deepest wounds are inflicted by the ones meant to protect you. Sometimes, to understand someone's actions, you must look past the mask they wear every day. That's what began to happen to Tara. In her quiet moments, those long, lonely hours in her room where the silence roared louder than any argument, she started to see her mother, not as Mummy, the cold disciplinarian, or the smiling woman on Christmas Day. No, she began to see her as a woman. She remembered how her mother used to cry quietly in the kitchen when bills were due, how her laughter always seemed a little forced when guests came around. She recalled how during arguments with her father, her mother would mutter, "I gave up my life for this family." Gave up her life? What did that mean? It dawned on her, maybe, just maybe, her mother was not operating from cruelty alone. Maybe she had dreams once. Maybe favoritism was her way of controlling one thing in a life that has spiraled. It didn't excuse the pain she caused, but it explained the depth of it. Tara began to understand that broken people parent from brokenness. They pass on what they've never healed from. And somehow, this realization didn't bring rage, it brought sorrow. Not pity, but a grief for what could have been. Forgiveness is not like in Nollywood, where one hug and tears solve everything. No, real forgiveness is a slow, grinding process. One step forward, two back, a deep breath, then a breakdown. Healing is messy. Tara started journaling her pain. She wrote letters she never sent. She cried in the middle of the night, whispering prayers she didn't know if God would answer. And then one day, she sat across from her mother. No shouting this time, no ledger, just two women face to face. "I need you to hear me," Tara said softly. Her mother nodded, and Tara spoke. She poured out years of being overlooked, of feeling like she had to earn love that should have been freely given. Her mother didn't interrupt. No excuses, just silent tears that trickled down her cheeks. I'm not asking for miracles, Tara said. I just want the truth. Did you ever love me the same? Her mother whispered. I didn't know how to. You were too much like me, too strong. I thought you didn't need me. And just like that, the wall began to crumble, not fall, but crack gently. Now, let's talk about Lola, sweet, oblivious Lola. It's easy to resent the favorite child bar, but sometimes they are victims too of attention, pressure, and blind spots. Tara and Lola had gone months, barely exchanging more than good morning. But after the confrontation with their mother, something shifted. Lola knocked on Tara's door one evening, holding a tub of ice cream and two spoons. Can we talk? She asked, eyes down. Tara hesitated, then nodded. For hours, they talked about childhood, about how Lola had never realized the depth of the divide. I just thought you were the smart one. You had daddy, I had mommy. Tara laughed bitterly, like we were divorced in our own house. They cried. They remembered silly games they used to play. And slowly, a new kind of sisterhood formed. Not forced, not perfect, but real. They started sharing playlists, doing their hair together, even gisting about boys. Lola began to stand up for Tara at home, reminding their mother gently when she slipped back into old patterns. It was the beginning of a new alliance, two sisters trying to rebuild what childhood had shattered. Peace doesn't come with a trumpet, it sneaks in softly like a harmattan breeze at dawn. The home changed, not drastically. Their mother was still flawed, still prone to moods, but she was trying. She apologized more, she listened more. When Tara received a scholarship for university, she actually danced, my sister. You would think she was auditioning for Big Brother. Tara and her father started taking walks again, talking about books and life. He told her, I'm sorry. I didn't see it sooner. I thought being quiet meant you were okay. And that, my darling, is a message. Just because someone looks strong doesn't mean they are not crumbling inside. Family dinners returned, awkward at first, but eventually warm. Conversations bloomed. The fridge finally had both their achievements posted, Tara's debate trophy and Lola's art exhibition flyer side by side. Balance. Not perfection, but balance. You know the thing about fractured bonds, they can heal, not back to what they were, but into something new. Like kintsugi, the Japanese art of mending broken pottery with gold, where the cracks become parts of the beauty. Tara stood at the airport that day, bag in hand, passport ready. She was off to university abroad, a dream once endangered by her mother's neglect. Now it was reality. Her family stood around her, mother tearful, father proud, Lola snapping selfies. Before she boarded, her mother hugged her. I may not have always been there, she whispered, but I'm here now. Tara smiled, soft but strong. I know. As she walked away, she felt lighter, not because the past had been erased, but because she had faced it, mourned it, forgiven it. She chose love, not the romantic movie kind, but the gritty, grown up kind that chooses peace over pride, that builds bridges even after fire. And that, my dear listener, is the true miracle. Moral of the story: not every broken family stays broken. Not every scar is ugly. Sometimes healing starts when we stop waiting for apologies and start building our own joy. My people, family, make I tell you, no be blood dey make you feel safe. Sometimes love needs to be earned, not assumed. And forgiveness na journey. But oh, what a beautiful ending. when we choose to walk it. If dis gist touch your heart, you better share am with person wey need healing. I remain your one and only Aunty Gistina, signing off with one question: who be the Lola for your own life and dem don ever overlook you as the daughter? Till next time, bye my darlings.